So you probably think making more putts is mostly about perfecting your green reading.
Right, or maybe obsessing over your stroke mechanics.
Yeah, exactly. Like constantly tweaking your grip or making sure your putter face is just perfectly square at impact. I mean, we have all been there.
Oh, absolutely.
You stand on the practice green, completely paralyzed, just staring at the turf, trying to visualize this exact, perfect geometric line the ball needs to take to the hole.
Yeah, there is this incredibly persistent belief in the golf world that if you can just draw the perfect imaginary line from the golf ball to the cup and somehow start the ball on that exact line well, you have completely solved the putting puzzle.
Like it's a math equation.
Exactly. It treats the green like a flat pool table, where geometry is literally the only thing that matters.
But today, we are going to completely shatter that myth. We are pulling research from the Puttalyze Certification Course to look at the true secret that separates elite putters from average weekend golfers.
And, spoiler alert, it is not about finding the perfect read.
Not at all. It is entirely about distance control. So, the mission of this deep dive is to completely rewire how you, the listener, understand the physics of a rolling golf ball.
Right. We want you to stop relying on guesswork.
Yeah, stop leaning on those tired golf cliches and start making decisions on the green based on actual observable science.
And to set the stage for everything we're unpacking today, we really need to internalize the foundational principle of elite putting.
Okay, lay it on us.
It goes like this. Speed controls scoring. Direction only determines where the ball starts.
Okay, wait, I really want to unpack that. Speed controls scoring. Why is speed so critical that it completely overrides the direction you aim?
Oh.
Because in my head, I mean, if I hit the ball perfectly straight but on the wrong line, it misses the hole. So how on earth is speed a more forgiving variable?
Think about the physical realities of the golf hole itself. A perfectly read putt aiming on the exact right mathematical line, but struck with bad speed.
Like hammer too firmly.
Right. Either hammered too firmly or baited too softly. That putt will almost never find the bottom of the cup.
Yeah, it just lips out.
It will violently lip out, it will blast right over the hole, or it will frustratingly stop, 3 feet short. But conversely, look at a putt with a mediocre read.
Okay.
The line is imperfect, maybe even a little sloppy, but the pace is absolute perfection. That putt routinely falls in.
Just because it's dying at the hole, it just kind of tumbles in at the last second.
Exactly. The ball spends significantly more time lingering around the physical lip of the cup and enters at a much more favorable, slower speed.
So it has a better chance of just catching an edge.
Right. It can catch the high edge and drop. You can grab the low side and sneak in. I mean, distance control isn't just an accessory skill on the putting green. It is the structural foundation upon which every other element of putting is built.
Wow. Okay.
If your speed is inconsistent, your green reading becomes completely unreliable.
Yeah.
Your aim point becomes mathematically useless, and your stroke mechanics simply do not matter.
So you could have the perfect swing, but it's useless.
You can have the most beautiful repeating stroke in the world, but if the ball arrives at the hole going the wrong speed, you are writing down a bogey.
Man. Now this brings up something that I think every single golfer is guilty of saying at the 19th hole. We absolutely love to talk about feel.
Oh, yes. The magical feeling.
Right. You walk off the 18th green and tell your buddies, oh, I just had a great touch today, or I was really seeing the lines and trusting my instincts. We treat putting like it's this mystical art form, like painting or playing jazz or something.
Yeah, it's very romanticized.
But I have to push back on that. I mean, a golf ball doesn't care about your confidence.
Yeah.
It doesn't know if you're feeling incredibly instinctive or if your hands are shaking with nerves.
Not at all. The golf ball is an inanimate object. It does not respond to confidence. It does not understand intuition, and it certainly does not care about emotion.
It's just physics.
It responds exclusively to objective physical laws. Whether that putt is struck by a weekend beginner playing their first round or, a major champion on Sunday at Augusta, the ball is governed by the exact same scientific principles.
So when I stand over a tricky 20-footer and rely on quote-unquote feel to decide how hard to hit it, what am I actually doing in my brain?
You are relying on a subjective and often very flawed memory of past physical sensations.
Like trying to remember a putt from a week ago?
Basically, you are trying to subconsciously recall how a similar stroke felt weeks or months ago, and that creates a very fragile type of confidence.
Because conditions change.
Exactly. The moment the environmental conditions change, the greens get faster in the afternoon, the weather shifts, or you are suddenly under intense tournament pressure trying to win your club championship, that magical feel just evaporates.
Your instincts completely fail you when you need them most.
Yes. But when you understand the underlying science instead, you stop relying on trial and error. You start making decisions based on objective, measurable physical principles.
Which gives you actual confidence.
Right. It creates an unshakable foundational confidence that holds up under the most intense pressure.
You know, if we look at the history of the game, the greatest putters all seem to intuitively grasp this, even if they didn't, like, use the scientific terminology.
Oh, absolutely.
You look at someone like Tiger Woods in his prime, famous for his lag putting and his obsession with what he called die speed.
Having the ball take its last rotation right as it falls over the edge of the cup.
Exactly. He wasn't just picking a line, he was intensely engineering the exact arrival speed of the golf ball.
Because elite players reverse engineer the putt. They visualize how the ball will die into the hole, and they calculate backward from there to determine the energy required at impact.
So it really is just a physics calculation for them.
It is whether they consciously realize it or not.
Okay, so since we are saying putting is purely physics, let's break down the actual physical forces acting on the ball. If I'm tossing out the mystical feel, what replaces it?
Well, according to the Puttalyze system, there are fundamental forces dictating every single putt.
I want to start with the obvious one, energy. I was thinking about this earlier, and I kind of like to picture the putting stroke like a dying battery on a smartphone.
Okay, let's follow that analogy. Every putt begins with the transfer of kinetic energy.
Right.
Before impact, all the energy required for the entire journey of the putt exists solely within the moving putter head.
Yeah.
During your forward stroke, you accelerate the mass of the putter, creating kinetic energy.
So the putter is basically the charging station. And the precise moment of impact when the putter face hits the ball, that is the exact moment you unplug the charging cord from the phone.
That's a great way to put it. And from that millisecond onward, the ball can never accelerate on its own again.
Never.
Never. A large proportion of the putter's kinetic energy transfers to the golf ball, determining its initial speed. But the instant it leaves the face, the battery starts draining. Many golfers harbor this subconscious illusion that a putt rolls at a relatively constant speed until it suddenly decides to slow down near the hole.
Yeah, that's definitely how it looks to the naked eye.
But in reality, the ball is constantly decelerating throughout its entire journey. A leaf speed control is simply the skill of predicting exactly how much of that initial energy will be lost before the ball reaches its final destination.
Which brings us to the thing that is actively draining the battery. If we stick with the phone analogy, this is like having your screen brightness turned all the way up with a dozen background apps running.
Right. Yes.
In physics terms, this is friction.
Specifically, we're talking about rolling friction. Unlike a drive off the tee or a flushed iron shot where the ball spends the vast majority of its time flying freely through the air, a putt remains in continuous grinding contact with the ground.
Just scraping along.
Exactly. The grass blades, the moisture, the grain direction, the tiny surface irregularities, they're all acting as an invisible brake.
So every single rotation of the golf ball is basically fighting a microscopic battle against the turf?
Friction is continuously extracting kinetic energy from the ball. It is physically converting the ball's motion into tiny, imperceptible amounts of heat and microscopic deformations in both the turf and the ball itself.
That's wild to think about. Heat on a putting green.
Right, and without this rolling friction, like if you put it on a frictionless vacuum surface, the ball would literally just keep rolling forever. But physics ensures this braking force is always active, steadily and predictably bringing the ball to a halt.
Okay, so we have energy pushing the ball forward and friction acting as the invisible brake slowing it down. But golf courses aren't flat parking lots.
No, they are not.
This introduces gravity. And gravity isn't just keeping the ball on the ground, right? It's actively messing with the battery drain.
Gravity is the ultimate wild card because it changes both the speed and the direction of the ball simultaneously and constantly.
How so?
Well, if you were putting straight uphill, gravity is acting directly against your direction of travel. It is yanking energy out of the ball much faster than friction alone.
And downhill.
If you're putting downhill, gravity is assisting the motion, acting like a tailwind for the ball's energy. And on a sidehill putt, gravity is continuously pulling the ball sideways toward the lowest point of the slope.
I think we need a clear visual for this. When I was going through the source material for this deep dive, they talked about the fall line.
Yes, crucial concept.
If you are having trouble picturing how gravity pulls a putt, Imagine standing on a sloped green and dumping a 5-gallon bucket of water onto the grass.
I love that visual.
Right. The exact straight path that water takes as it rushes down the hill to the lowest point that is the fall line. Gravity is always trying to pull your golf ball toward that exact path.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. Gravity never takes a break. It is constantly attempting to drag the kinetic energy of your golf ball down that fall line.
So this perfectly tees up the final piece of the physics puzzle. We have energy, friction, and gravity. But the source material introduces a fourth force.
The most important one.
Yeah, one they call the most important yet least understood variable in all of putting, which is time.
Right.
But if it's just the battery, the brakes, and the slope, where does time fit in?
Time is the hidden master variable that connects speed control directly to green reading. Here is the golden rule of putting physics. Gravity can only influence a moving ball.
Okay, obviously.
Therefore, the longer a golf ball remains in motion across the turf, the more time gravity has to alter its direction toward that fall line.
Oh, I see. Let's ground this in a real-world scenario. I want to take a situation every golfer listening has faced.
Okay, let's hear it.
2 golfers are in the exact same group, standing in the exact same spot on the green. They have the exact same intended starting line, and they're facing the exact same side hill slope.
Okay, identical conditions.
Right. Golfer A stepped up and hits the putt firm. Golfer B steps up and hits it soft. What is physically happening to those 2 golf balls?
With the firmer putt, golfer A imparted a massive amount of initial kinetic energy. Because the ball is traveling fast, it reaches the hole quickly.
So less time on the green.
It spends significantly less total time in motion. Because the travel time is so short, the window for gravity to pull the ball sideways down the slope is incredibly small.
Oh, so just blows right past the brake.
As a result, that firm putt fights off the brake, takes a relatively straight path, and misses on the high side if they aim too far out.
And golfer B, who hit the soft putt?
The softer putt received much less initial energy, meaning it travels much more slowly across the turf. That means its total travel time from the putter face to the hole is significantly longer.
Which means more time for gravity.
Exactly. Because it is rolling for an extended period of time, gravity has a massive window of opportunity to pull the ball laterally toward the fall line. Consequently, the softer putt breaks significantly more, carving a massive curve across the green.
And the fascinating thing is, absolutely nothing about the golf course changed.
Nothing at all.
The slope was identical. The friction of the grass was identical. The starting line they chose was identical. The only variable that actually changed the shape of the putt was time.
Time under the influence of gravity is what actually creates the physical break of a putt. Break is not created by distance or slope alone.
No.
It is created by how long the ball is exposed to the slope.
I have to push back here, because this introduces what the source material calls the downhill paradox, and I'll be honest, it completely breaks my brain.
Confuses a lot of people.
If I am standing over a terrifying, slick downhill putt, my immediate human instinct is to barely breathe on the golf ball. I want to hit it as soft as humanly possible.
Of course.
Now, common sense tells me that if I barely tap a putt, it shouldn't break very much because I didn't put any power into it. But you're telling me my instincts are completely wrong.
Your instincts are telling you the exact opposite of reality.
Hmm.
Let's go back to our battery analogy and apply the physics of time and gravity. Because it is a downhill putt, gravity is assisting the ball. You need very little initial kinetic energy from the putter.
Right.
But because the ball is moving so incredibly slowly as it creeps down the hill, it takes a much longer period of time to finally reach the hole.
Ah. So hitting it downhill is like putting the battery on extreme power saving mode. It's using very little energy, but the phone stays on for a really long time.
That's brilliant, yes. And more travel time equals more time for gravity to act on the ball laterally.
Which means more break.
This is why a delicate downhill putt usually breaks significantly more than an uphill putt hit on the exact same slope.
Because the uphill putt requires more energy.
On the uphill putt, you have to hit it harder, meaning it gets there faster, giving gravity less time to pull it sideways. The downhill putt just sits there, exposed to gravity's pull for what feels like an eternity.
Man, this also completely explains the jarring difference between playing at a local municipal course on a Tuesday and watching the pros putt on a championship-level, lightning-fast green on Sunday.
Oh, totally. Think about what green speed actually is on a molecular level.
Friction. Right.
A fast green simply has less rolling resistance. The grass is cut shorter, it's rolled tighter, and there is less friction acting as an invisible brake.
So the battery doesn't drain as fast?
Because friction isn't stealing the kinetic energy as quickly, the ball retains its speed and rolls for a much longer period of time from a much softer strike.
And since we know that more time means gravity has more opportunity to pull the ball down the fall line, the math changes completely.
This is why a 5-foot side hill putt on a fast championship green will break substantially more than that exact same 5-foot slope on a shaggy, slow municipal practice green.
Just because it's rolling longer.
The lack of friction on the fast green forces the ball to be in motion longer to cover the same distance, exposing it to gravity for a longer duration.
Well, if it really is this simple, I mean, just the physics of energy, friction, gravity, and time, why am I still three-putting?
That's the golden question.
What is traditional golf coaching getting so wrong about this? Because I've had coaches tell me, you know, for a 10-foot putt, take the putter back to your right toe. For a 20-foot putt, take it back to the outside of your foot.
The paint-by-numbers approach.
Exactly. It's this total obsession with memorizing robotic stroke lengths.
The Puttalyze approach highlights exactly why that mechanical robotic method is deeply flawed and, frankly, often leads to frustration.
Okay, why?
Let's say you spend weeks memorizing the perfect toe-to-toe stroke length for a 15-foot putt on your fast home course. You have the mechanics absolutely dialed in.
Sounds good so far.
But then you travel to play a buddy's course where the greens are incredibly slow and shaggy.
Yeah.
If you rely on that memorized robotic stroke length,
Yeah.
you are going to leave every single 15-foot putt 3 feet short.
Because the friction of the shaggy grass is much stronger, draining my battery faster than I planned for.
Exactly. Elite players do not try to reproduce an identical robotic stroke length every time they putt.
What are they doing instead?
What they're actually doing is reproducing the correct amount of energy required for the specific environment they are standing in.
So it's entirely about the decision-making process over the physical mechanics.
Consistency in putting does not come from repeating identical mechanical strokes like a machine.
Right.
Every putt you ever face will present a totally unique, one-of-a-kind combination of distance, slope severity, and friction.
So you can't just copy-paste a swing.
Therefore, every single putt requires a unique amount of kinetic energy. True consistency comes from repeating a scientific decision-making process that allows your brain to calculate that energy requirement accurately every single time.
So how can you, the listener, actively use this science to stop three-putting the very next time you step onto a green? Because earlier we established that speed and direction are not two different things on the golf course.
That is arguably the most practical, game-changing application of this entire deep dive. Distance control and green reading are the exact same skill.
The exact same.
They are completely and utterly inseparable. You cannot treat them as independent tasks.
Let me make sure I understand the gravity of this. Let's say I'm standing over a 15-foot left-to-righter. I go through my whole routine. I read the green. I visualize the fall line. I pick my exact aim point 2 cups outside the left edge.
Okay, solid plan.
I step up to the ball, but right before I start my stroke, I get a little nervous about blowing it past the hole, and I consciously decide to hit the putt just a little bit softer than I originally planned. Have I just mathematically invalidated my entire read?
You have entirely ruined your read.
Wow.
By changing your mind about the arrival speed at the last possible second, you have changed the initial kinetic energy you were going to deliver.
Which changes the time.
That instantly alters the total travel time of the putt. That changes how long gravity will influence the ball, which fundamentally changes the amount of break.
So the spot 2 cups outside the left edge that I was aiming at is now 100% the wrong target for the softer speed I just chose.
Absolutely. Every single speed adjustment, no matter how minor, requires a completely new aim point. You cannot change one without changing the other.
Because they're tied together.
They are two expressions of the exact same physical system.
This means we need a significantly better mental system before we even address the golf ball. The source material outlines this pre-putt checklist.
Yes.
It argues that instead of just guessing the line, taking a practice swing, and hoping for the best, you have to deliberately evaluate specific factors and blend them into one integrated system.
That's exactly it.
Walk us through a golfer standing on a green using this checklist.
First, you evaluate the length of the putt, the wad distance the ball has to travel.
Okay.
Second, the green speed, which tells you how much friction is out there acting as a brake.
Got it.
Third, you assess the gradient and direction of the slope, finding the fall line to know how gravity is going to interfere.
Right.
Finally, and most importantly, your desired target speed. Do you want the ball to die over the front edge, Or do you want it to hit the back of the cup with pace?
So you mix all those together.
Once you integrate those 4 variables, the math practically solves itself, dictating the exact appropriate aim point.
It's literally an engineering problem. You are solving for the initial kinetic energy required so that the ball arrives at the physical hole at your chosen target speed while perfectly riding the gravitational trajectory you predicted.
And that is exactly why understanding the physics creates such incredible, unshakable confidence on the course.
Because it's not a mystery anymore.
You aren't guessing anymore. You aren't hoping your feel shows up today. You are making a highly informed decision, fully supported by scientific reality.
Man, let's bring all these pieces together. We promised at the top of the show that we would completely rewire how you think about putting.
And I think we've done that.
What we've learned is that putting is not a mystical art form based on luck, guesswork, or some inherent natural talent. It is an objective science.
Sheer physics.
Every putt is governed by the transfer of kinetic energy from your putter. It is governed by rolling friction, constantly bleeding that energy away like a dying battery. It is governed by gravity, constantly altering both the speed and the trajectory. And it is governed by time.
If you take one key lesson away from this deep dive to your next practice session, let it be this. Time is the hidden variable that creates break.
Time creates break.
Slower putts break more. Downhill putts break more. Lightning-fast greens break more. And they all do it for the exact same physical reason.
Because of gravity.
Because gravity is given more time to act on the rolling golf ball. If you can master the physics of energy transfer, you will master distance control.
And everything else falls into place.
And if you master distance control, your green reading will suddenly become incredibly, almost mathematically accurate.
I want to leave you with one final provocative thought experiment to ponder based on this relationship between friction and time.
This is a good one.
We know that friction and time dictate how much a putt breaks. Think about what happens when you introduce a strong headwind on an exposed putting green.
Right, another variable.
A headwind acts as an extra layer of invisible friction, physically pushing against the ball, slowing it down much faster than the grass alone.
Exactly.
Does that mean a putt hit straight into a stiff wind will take longer to reach the hole and therefore break more on the exact same slope than a putt hit downwind? Something to chew on the next time you're trying to save par in a breeze.
It definitely gives you a new perspective on those windy days.
If you found today's episode valuable, please subscribe to our channel. Every subscription helps us continue producing evidence-based golf education for golfers and coaches around the world.
We really appreciate the support.
If you have a golf question, topic idea, or challenge you would like us to research, test, or explain, please leave a comment, contact us on LinkedIn, or send us an email.
We'd love to hear from you.
If you're ready to improve your putting performance, join our 30-day Puttalyze Green Reading and Putting Certification Course, where you'll learn green reading, speed and distance control, setup, alignment, aim, stroke mechanics, and a proven system for reading greens with greater confidence and consistency.